Okay, continuing with the sense of sight, probably my favorite part of this section. We are going to look at accessory organs that deal with your vision and your eyes. So the first part is the lacrimal apparatus that we'll look at. Deals with tears, keeping your eyes clear, and then actual emotional tears. Eyelids are considered accessory organs, along with the muscles that move your eyes that are very interesting. So if we look at specifically the eyelid, it protects your eyes from large foreign particles, dirt, and things like that. And it is made up of very, very thin skin, and it's lined with what's called conjunctiva. Very thin, produces mucus, keeps your eyes moist. It's going to line the eyelids, and it's also going to line the back part of your eye all the way to the anterior side. And it does not cover the cornea. The cornea does not have conjunctiva. The cornea is a tough membrane, so it is much thicker. If we look at the parts of the eye, the cornea, like I said, this is very thick. If you have the chance to actually dissect like a cow eye, the cornea is a very thick membrane, which is important for protecting your eye. If you've scratched your eye with something before, gotten something in there, your cornea does a very good job of protecting. You can see that the pupil is just a hole or opening, so if there were no cornea or anything in front, the pupil is just an opening. You could actually poke something in there. Conjunctiva then is the lining that's going to line around the eye, very thin. The muscles that are around it, we'll look at that a little bit more. But the lacrimal apparatus produces tears. It lubricates the eye, it cleans the eye, actually has antibacterial enzymes in it. And it starts with the lacrimal gland, which is going to be on the outer part of your eye. And then little tubes are going to allow those tears to come across your eye. And then they drain into the lacrimal sac, into the nasal lacrimal duct, and then eventually into your nasal cavity. Like I said, antibacterial enzyme, actually called lysozyme, is produced in your tears to help prevent infections and things like that. Extrinsic muscles are the muscles that attach to your eye and allow movement in the different directions that we use. So, here's the diagram to explain it better. Lacrimal gland is going to produce tears, and on an average normal basis, a small amount of tears that are going to come across your eye. They're going to drain in the corner, go through the canals. Here's the lacrimal sac is the first portion. Nasal lacrimal duct, which takes it to your nose. So in emotional conditions, when you produce a lot of tears, this is why your nose will run. These tears come across your eyes. They build up so fast that some of them drop outside of your eye. But then the rest of them come through and are going to end up going through your nose. So when you have a runny nose because you're crying, it's actually those tears that are coming through. Also, some people's lacrimal gland does not produce enough tears, and they may have dry eye syndrome. They may have a blocked duct or something that also will allow dry eyes. If we look at the muscles that surround the eye, there's a superior rectus that's going to lift your eyeballs up, so when you look up. The inferior rectus is going to bring your eyeball down. Obliques are going to turn kind of around when you move around, so they are going to come around the eyeball. Inferior is on the bottom. Superior runs across the top. And then you'll have a lateral rectus muscle on the outside to turn your eyes outward, and a medial rectus muscle on the inside that moves your eye in. People who have lazy eyes, where their eye might turn more towards the inside, can actually have surgery where they will cut that muscle, tighten it up, and basically staple it back together so that this muscle is shorter and pulls the eye outward a little bit. Table, this is in your book. I'm not going to go over that. Then if we actually start to look at the structure of the eye, this is a diagram that you should know all the parts of. We'll talk about the outside fibrous layer, which, like your sclera, your cornea would be part of that. The middle vascular layer, choroid coat is in the middle. And then your inner part of your eye, your retina, will be part of that. Anterior, I do want to note, anterior cavity is in front of the lens. Posterior cavity is this whole area behind the lens of your eye. So the outer fibrous layer contains your cornea, which I said, thick, strong, protective. It covers the front of the eye. And then the sclera is what I call the white of your eye. It's the outside part, and it's the part that appears white. So it starts behind the main front of your eye. The sclera is mostly collagen. It's tough. It's protective. The extrinsic eye muscles are going to attach to that. And then at the back of your eye is where the optic nerve and blood vessels are going to be present. So here again, if you can dissect a BFI, that optic nerve is going to come out the back end, and that is the main nerve that leads from your eye back into the back part of your brain. The middle part of the eye is the vascular tunic. It does have more blood vessels there. Choroid coat, iris, which is the colored part of your eye, and then ciliary bodies that are going to attach to the iris and the front part of the eye. So choroid coat is vascular. It has a lot of blood vessels. It's dark. It's black in humans. We do not have, it's called a tapetum or a tapetum at the back of our eye. Our eyes absorb light. They do not reflect light. So our choroid coat is the reason that if you shine a light into a human's eyes, ours don't reflect like some animals. When you see a deer on the road, their eyes reflect. Ours do not do that because of our dark choroid coat. Ciliary body forms a ring. There's muscles that are going to attach to your lens and hold your lens in place. So the function of the ciliary body is basically to hold the lens in place and then to move it and shape it for different positions, whether we're looking near or far. And there is just a picture of the ciliary body part. Still looking at the middle layer, so we're talking about the lens yet. Accommodation deals with how our eye changes or accommodates when I'm looking at something close versus something far away. When the ciliary muscle relaxes, those ligaments are going to pull outward and the lens is going to flatten a little bit. That's going to help you focus on things that are far away. When the muscle contracts, these suspensory ligaments are going to relax, and then my lens is going to become more rounder shaped, and that's going to help with viewing closer objects. As humans age, these ligaments don't work quite as well quite often, and that is why people will end up with bifocal glasses to look at near and far, because those muscles don't work as well as they used to. So here you can see when those suspensory ligaments are pulling up, your lens gets thinner. It's not flat, but it's going to be longer and thinner, where when they relax, the lens is going to become more round and not spread out quite so far. It's not a huge dramatic change. The iris is also part of the middle layer. And that is the colored part of your eye. So you might have a blue iris, you might have brown, you might have whatever, green. It's the colored part of your eye. And its job is to adjust how much light enters the pupil. So the iris has a circular set of muscle fibers and then a radial set that also shoots outward. What happens in dark situations is those radial muscles are going to work and your pupil will dilate. So the hole, the black hole in your eye gets bigger. When it's dark out, your pupil enlarges to let more light in so that you can see better. When it's very bright out, the opposite happens. The circular muscles are stimulated. It makes your pupil smaller so that it does not allow in so much light. Too much light distracts the focus. It actually harms the retina. It's not good for you. So dark or dim light, your pupil will get bigger to let more light in. Bright light, it will get smaller so you don't let in too much light. And there you can just see how your pupil changes sizes. And I am going to stop there for now and break this apart into a couple different places. I will pick back up on the next section.